Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. Did you know you might have been answering the phone with "Ahoy"? In the early days of the telephone, when Alexander Graham Bell introduced his invention, he suggested using "ahoy" as a greeting when answering calls. Inspired by nautical language, Bell thought it would be a perfect fit for the new way of communicating. Imagine if his idea caught on. We would all be saying "ahoy" every time we picked up the phone. However, Thomas Edison suggested the word "hello," and it became the standard, leaving "ahoy" as a quirky piece of history. Did you know the U.S. unemployment rate is still surprisingly high? The unemployment rate in the U.S. remains high, despite numerous efforts by authorities to reduce it. There are approximately 11 million unemployed individuals in the country, which is equivalent to the population of Greece. This issue persists even during periods of economic growth, as many citizens continue to experience social insecurity despite government and private sector initiatives. The problem of unemployment is becoming increasingly prominent, affecting millions of Americans, including those with higher education who are unable to find jobs. Can you imagine that Uluru is not just a rock, but a massive monolith revered by many cultures? Uluru is a majestic red monolith located in the center of Australia. It stands 348 meters tall and is one of the most iconic natural landmarks in the world. Uluru holds spiritual significance for the Aboriginal people, who consider it the center of their spiritual world. Despite its popularity among tourists, local traditions call for respect towards this site, including a ban on climbing the rock itself. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast, but there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Where do you think the largest Chinatowns in the world are located? They are, of course, San Francisco and Manhattan in New York City. These areas have become centers of life and culture for Chinese immigrants, featuring numerous restaurants, shops, and cultural events. New York is also known for Brighton Beach, a compact neighborhood primarily inhabited by immigrants from the former USSR. This is one of the most vibrant and culturally rich communities in the U.S., home to around 80,000 people, creating a unique atmosphere for new generations and tourists. Can you imagine that some flowers eat mice? This isn't science fiction, it's reality. There are carnivorous plants, such as the nepenthes or pitcher plants, that can trap and digest not only insects but also small animals like mice. These plants secrete sweet nectar to lure their prey, and once the animal falls into the pitcher, it can't escape. The plant world is far more cunning and mysterious than it seems. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures like the Eiffel Tower are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Can you guess how big the world's largest slice of pizza was? In 2018, a New York pizzeria broke all records by creating the world's largest slice of pizza. This gigantic slice measured 2.4 meters in length, about 8 feet, and 1.2 meters in width, which is around 4 feet. It was so enormous that it could feed 20 people. The slice was topped with cheese and pepperoni and was so massive that it needed a special truck and 2 people to transport it. A true epic feast for any pizza lover. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which, despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Can you imagine? Your blood vessels could wrap around the Earth twice. Have you ever wondered how complex the human circulatory system is? If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch about 96,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice. This intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries is vital for transporting blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. This amazing feat of nature highlights just how complex and beautifully designed our bodies are. Now that you know this fact, you can marvel even more at how your body works. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year? Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds, it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials. Infinite combinations, a deck of cards, and the vastness of the universe. The number of ways to shuffle a standard 52-card deck is mind-blowing. This figure is known as the factorial of 52 and equals a number with 60 zeros. This means that every time you shuffle a deck, you are likely creating a combination that has never existed before and will never be repeated. So next time you play cards, remember, you have a whole universe of possibilities in your hands. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839, in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to OK, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, OK has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, OK proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City, when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So, while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until some time after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Surprisingly, the fact is that the area of the United States of America is 9,147,593 kilometers, making it the fourth largest country in the world, behind Russia, Canada, and China. This vast territory encompasses various climate zones, from the tropics of Florida to the cold regions of Alaska, and is home to a wide range of natural landscapes. Moreover, in addition to its size, the U.S. is also known for its population. With 335 million people, it ranks third in the world by population, underscoring its significance on the global stage. Surprisingly but true, the Wave in Arizona attracts tourists from around the world with its unique natural formation. Located on the border with Utah, the Wave is a remarkable sandstone feature that has become a symbol of natural beauty and stunning landscapes. This site is known for its wave-like rock structures, painted in vibrant shades of red, orange, and yellow. Travelers from across the globe visit to see this place, and many photographers consider it one of the most beautiful and photographed spots on Earth. This is why many consider the USA a symbol of democracy. Despite its globally recognized influence on democratic processes, it's interesting to note that women gained the right to vote in the U.S. only in 1920, after many years of fighting for their rights. Native Americans, the indigenous people of the country, became official U.S. citizens only in 1924. This demonstrates how long the struggle for equality and justice has been in a country that today symbolizes freedom and democracy for the entire world. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. Wow! Did you know that spiders can jump incredible distances? A jumping spider can leap up to 15 times its body length. This would be like a human leaping across a football field in one bound. These spiders use their back legs as springs, compressing them and then suddenly straightening to get a powerful push. Jumping spiders also have keen eyesight, allowing them to accurately target prey or safe landing spots, and even avoid predators. It's hard to believe, but the first university in the U.S. was established in 1636, and it was Harvard. It remains one of the most prestigious institutions not only in America, but also in the world. Harvard has become a symbol of academic success and intellectual wealth, providing its students with the highest quality education. This institution has been the foundation for numerous scientific discoveries and social changes in the country, and has played a key role in shaping the U.S. educational system, which continues to be one of the most advanced in the world. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Can you believe the fastest land animal can run at 120 kilometers per hour? The cheetah is nature's sprinting wonder, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour, which is about 75 miles per hour. However, its incredible speed is only for short bursts, as the cheetah can maintain this pace for just a few seconds before exhaustion and heat set in. Despite this, its brief but powerful sprint makes it the king of land predators. But if we're talking about speed in general, the absolute champion remains the peregrine falcon, which we discussed in our last video. This bird can dive at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Did you know there are eternal lightning storms on Earth? In Venezuela, there is a place called Catatumbo, where lightning strikes almost constantly. This unique natural phenomenon occurs at Lake Maracaibo, where lightning can be observed on up to 250 days each year. Known as the Catatumbo lightning storm, lightning can flash up to 280 times an hour. Scientists believe this is due to the region's unique topography, which creates perfect conditions for constant discharges. This location has become a major attraction for tourists and scientists from around the world. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. How did the term honeymoon originate? And what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. Did you know there's a lava river that has been burning for decades? In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's the Nyiragongo volcano, which is famous for its lava lake, the largest in the world. This volcanic lake is one of the few on the planet that remains almost constantly active. Its lava flows at an incredible speed, up to 100 kilometers per hour, creating a genuine river of fire. Since scientists began monitoring the volcano in the mid-20th century, this fiery flow has practically never stopped. The lava river of Nyiragongo is a stunning representation of nature's raw power, and its heat can be felt for kilometers around. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. What if I told you there's an island in Japan covered in volcanic ash? Sakurajima Island in Japan is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Eruptions occur so frequently that a layer of volcanic ash covers the entire island. Local residents have adapted to living in these conditions, and the island even has special machines to clean volcanic ash from the streets. Despite the constant threat, this island is home to thousands of people and a popular tourist destination. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. In the UK, there is a national sport, golf. Do you know its history? Golf originated in Scotland. The first mention of golf dates back to 1457 when King James II banned it to focus citizens on military training. However, in the following years, golf became an integral part of British culture and gained popularity here. Today, golf remains a popular sport, and Scotland continues to host world championships. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States, where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. Surprisingly, some snakes have vestigial legs. Yes, certain snake species like boas and pythons still possess tiny vestigial legs, called spurs, near their tails. These remnants are the evolutionary leftovers from when snakes' ancestors had fully formed limbs millions of years ago. Over time, as snakes adapted to a slithering lifestyle, they lost the need for legs. But these little spurs remain as a fascinating window into the ancient past of these reptiles. It's like carrying a little piece of history on their bodies, reminding us that evolution is full of surprises. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea, near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know in some places on Earth you weigh a little more or less than in others. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Why sloths are so slow? A metabolic mystery. Sloths are so slow that even their digestion can take weeks. They can take up to 30 days to digest a single leaf. This slow metabolism helps them survive in environments where food is scarce. Sloths live in the treetops of tropical forests, moving so slowly that algae grow on their fur, camouflaging them into their surroundings. This disguise helps protect them from predators like eagles and jaguars. Thanks to their laziness, they use very little energy, making them true masters of energy conservation in nature. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the U.S. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Did you know that in Iceland there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. What if I told you the world's largest book weighs over 150 kilograms? The world's largest book, the Klenka Atlas, is housed in the British Library in London. This massive tome measures 1.75 meters tall and 1.90 meters wide, making it a true heavyweight in the literary world. Weighing in at 150 kilograms, it's almost impossible to lift without help. Despite its size, this giant atlas is not just a record holder, but a treasure trove of geography and history for book lovers. It turns out that fireflies can control the brightness of their glow. The fireflies we marvel at on summer evenings actually have the ability to adjust the intensity of their light. This is due to a chemical reaction in their bodies that uses a substance called luciferin. They can change the brightness of their glow depending on whether they are attracting a mate or warding off predators. Imagine how useful it would be to not only have a built-in lamp, but to control its brightness. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. Is it possible? In the USA, there is a river that flows underground for 1,000 kilometers. In the United States, under the Appalachians, lies a vast underground river system known as the Ogallala Aquifer. This subterranean river stretches for 1,000 kilometers, and its waters supply millions of people in the Midwest. Although it cannot be seen, it serves as an important source of drinking water for a huge area. Scientists warn that due to climate change and excessive water use, this unique river could dry up in the coming decades, making it even more mysterious and crucial for preservation. Imagine for a moment that Positano in Italy was once just a fishing village. Today, Positano is one of the most popular tourist destinations on the Amalfi Coast, but this picturesque town was once a small fishing hamlet. Everything changed after John Steinbeck wrote about it in 1953, which made it famous. Since then, Positano has drawn tourists with its steep streets, charming houses with colorful facades, and stunning views of the Mediterranean Sea. Imagine for a moment that Las Vegas came about purely by chance. In 1829, a caravan traveling from Texas to California lost its way. The desperately thirsty people were fortunate to find a source of fresh water, and they named the place Las Vegas, which in Spanish means fertile meadows. This chance encounter laid the foundation for the city that would eventually become the casino capital and global entertainment hub. Earth and the Moon, a dance of gravity. Fun fact, Earth is 81 times heavier than the Moon. Despite this difference in mass, both celestial bodies significantly influence each other through gravitational forces. Earth's gravity causes tides on the Moon, while the Moon's pull slows down Earth's rotation. This interaction plays a crucial role in the dynamics of our planet and its satellite. Next time you look up at the Moon, remember the cosmic dance happening between Earth and its faithful companion. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous Queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. How did the USA manage to develop its West Coast so quickly? Not long ago, in the early 20th century, the western lands of the United States were sparsely populated and underdeveloped. But what happened after that? Rapid technological advancement, economic growth, and mass migrations transformed California into not only the most populous, but also the most technologically advanced state. How did Americans turn these wild lands into a global innovation hub? The development of technologies such as the internet and strategic investments in innovation in Silicon Valley have made this region one of the wealthiest and most dynamic in the world. Can you imagine that monkeys can use money? Experiments have shown that monkeys can be trained to use money. They demonstrate an understanding of its value, make economic choices, and exhibit human-like traits such as protesting against injustice or even engaging in prostitution among male monkeys. This finding raises questions about how much our economic behavioral patterns may be common across species. Did you know there are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the world? This is no joke. The plastic flamingos that often adorn lawns and yards have become so popular that there are now more of them than living flamingos in the wild. This surprising fact about pop culture shows how even seemingly random decorative elements can take over the world. The plastic flamingo has become a symbol of American lawn design and has gained massive popularity. Who would have thought that toy birds could outnumber their living counterparts? Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye. But if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Organic food. Truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most, taste or caring for the planet. Did you know that the number of slot machines in Las Vegas roughly equals the population of Nevada? Each year, these machines generate about $10 billion for the city's economy, highlighting the importance of casinos as a revenue source. Las Vegas is more than just entertainment. It is a massive industry that supports an entire state and significantly impacts the national economy. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the shilin, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shilin. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Did you know that Mount Everest grows every year? Each year, the world's highest peak, Everest, grows a little taller, by a full 4 millimeters. This happens due to the tectonic plates beneath the Himalayas, which slowly but steadily push the mountain upwards. These tectonic processes have been going on for millions of years, and every time climbers reach the summit, they stand just a bit higher than their predecessors. Imagine, every step on Everest's summit is a step into new heights. It's not just a physical achievement, but a testament to the incredible natural forces that constantly reshape our planet. Everest is a symbol of nature's grandeur and its continuous movement forward. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative, they play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So, the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. Did you know that in China there is a living bridge entirely made from tree roots? In China's Guizhou province, there is a unique bridge created not by humans, but by nature itself. Local villagers directed the growth of tree roots in such a way that they formed a sturdy bridge capable of holding the weight of several people. This process took decades, and now the bridge has become a symbol of harmony between people and nature. Scientists consider it one of the most outstanding examples of natural architecture, and it is still used by locals to cross rivers and streams. Did you know that grizzly bears can run faster than horses? Contrary to the belief that bears are clumsy giants, they can reach speeds of over 50 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many horses. Grizzlies have not only powerful muscles, but also incredible agility, making them fearsome predators. Their speed allows them to hunt successfully and protect their territory. So, if you encounter a bear in the wild, don't think you can outrun it. Better to keep a safe distance and admire its power from afar. Did you know that in the USA there is a monument known as the Four Corners, located at the intersection of 4 states, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona? This unique geographical location is one of the most unusual in the world. Thousands of tourists flock here to take photos at the point where 4 states meet. This monument is not just a point on the map. It's a symbol of how geography can create unique, almost magical places on Earth that become cultural and historical landmarks. Moreover, it draws the attention of researchers and geographers from around the world, serving not only as a tourist attraction but also as a subject of scientific study. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Who would have thought that hyperinflation could lead to the devaluation of currency? Hyperinflation can cause a complete devaluation of money, as seen in Germany in the 1920s and Zimbabwe in the late 1990s to early 2000s. In these countries, money became so worthless that people carried it in bags, and banknotes were used as wallpaper because they lost their purchasing power. Such crises highlight the importance of currency stability for a country's economy. Did you know that butterflies taste food with their feet? Butterflies don't use their mouths to taste their food. Instead, they have taste receptors on their feet that allow them to determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. When a butterfly lands on a flower or leaf, it tastes it with its feet, and if it finds the taste favorable, it will start sipping nectar. Imagine if we could taste our meals just by stepping on them. This unique sense helps butterflies find the best places to eat and lay their eggs, ensuring the survival of their species. Why does an entire sea freeze in Canada? In Hudson Bay, winter temperatures can drop so low that the sea completely freezes, turning it into a giant ice desert. The ice here is so thick that even vehicles can travel across it. In winter, locals use it as a road, creating temporary routes directly on the sea's surface. This icy highway becomes vital for those living in the remote areas of northern Canada.